Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave, and happy Easter. On behalf of my family to your family, hope you had a wonderful day. This is where we talk sports. We do it 7 nights a week. You know the drill. Call 412-575-2600. That'll put you in touch with me. You can also hit me up on Twitter. It's at KDPomp as we talk about the NFL draft, which is finally going to be here this week after months of speculation on what the Steelers may do, on what other teams may do, on what quarterbacks go where, and what about Aaron Rodgers, who last week had to speak on Pat McAfee, and I think a lot of people were expecting an answer one way or the other, and they didn't get anything. What they got was a guy who pretty much is content doing what he wants to do on his own timeline, it seems. And you wonder how long this is going to go on. Art Rooney has said previously down at the owners' meetings in West Palm Beach that, they'll be patient, but they're not going to wait forever. But forever is an interesting word. What does that actually mean when you're dealing with a guy like Rodgers? So I don't know how long it'll be. I thought for sure they need to get an answer coming up before this draft, which is going to be in Green Bay starting on Thursday night. And then a year from now, it comes to Pittsburgh, and boy, what a buildup that will be. But the Steelers find themselves picking number 21. They don't have a second-round pick. They have, of course, picks after that, but will they try to get a second-round pick? If so, how? And then if you don't know about Aaron Rodgers, what should you do? Do you move up to try to take a quarterback if you believe you have a first-round grade? As Jerry Dulac has reported, the Steelers believe they have on both Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart. A lot of people may disagree with that, but did they do it this year? Wait till next year? A lot of this is predicated on what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, and at this point, no clarity there. So I want to hear from you on that at 412-575-2600. Also, the biggest need for the Steelers. You can say quarterback, sure, but beyond that, what would it be? And how should they address this at the draft? It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out and what their specific needs are going to be, and you'll find out as they make their picks. As far as a second-round pick, they don't have one. They may be willing to make a trade or two to try to get one, but who would be the person you have to give up? Is it George Pickens? If so, you're going to have to draft another wide receiver somewhere in this draft, I would imagine, because if you trade him, you may get a second, you may not. You may get a third or something less than a second. We don't know for sure what the trade value would be. What I do know is that most likely he won't be here next year. So he'll play this year and then leave. And if that's the case, then you're going to need another wide receiver. What about running back? Would the Steelers make a pick early for a running back? I don't know that they can do that given their other needs. So it will be like putting together this puzzle, which every year all of us try to figure out, and I'm sure you do at home as well. So call 412-575-2600. Let me hear from you. Pirates, well, man, another tough weekend, and they hardly scored runs. You can't win games the way their offense is. And yes, I know they got 3 in the bottom of the ninth to tie the game and force extra innings today, but they're not getting much production at all, especially long ball, power hitting, none of it. And they knew that coming into this season, and yet they were very, very reluctant to go out and spend money in free agency on bats. You may think they have answers in their system. Their metrics tell them they think they do. But where's the proof of that so far? We haven't really seen much of it. And they have a bunch of guys on this team who need to start hitting. And you got to believe they're going to be better than what they've shown here. But how long do you wait, and how far out of this division race or wild card chase do you fall before you realize you didn't do enough? That panic button should be hit by now offensively. They haven't scored. It looks like they're going to be the same team as they were last year, and that's not good enough when you have some pretty good pitching. Even today, for example, Mitch Keller goes into the 5th inning. What are you going to do? At some point, you need offense to make the pitcher's job easier. Just like in football, your offense, if it can score a lot of points, makes the defensive job a lot easier. Same holds true there. So I'd like to hear from you on the state of the Pirates coming up. And, of course, the playoffs have begun in both the NBA and the NHL. If you have questions about that, please call. We'd love to talk hockey and basketball with you. And a congratulations to Neil Shipley, who won his first professional event. And he did it at the LECOM event, and he had to shoot a final round 64 just to get to a playoff. And then he won it with a tremendous putt on the 5th playoff hole. So congrats to him. Justin Thomas wins today at the RBC Heritage. We got a lot to get into, as always, so I want to hear from you. Call the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're on tonight and every night, 7 nights a week, right here to talk sports with you at 575-2600, KDKA Plus, and on most nights, 93.7 The Fan. Back with your calls right after this. This is our tweet of the night, brought to you by Xfinity Mobile, and this comes from the NBA. And these are your MVP finalists. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, the freak in Milwaukee. He's probably going to finish third. It would be a two-man battle, I think, between Shai and Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been outstanding for Oklahoma City, and they won by 51 points today over Memphis. And then you have Nikola Jokic, and all you can say about him, he averages a triple-double. The guy is a multiple MVP winner, and if it wasn't for SGA, he'd probably win it again this year. But it seems to me that it is going to be Thunder and OKC winning this specific award. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. A lot of tweets here concerning the Steelers. This is from FBT, who says, the Steelers, if they don't take Rodgers, which quarterback in this draft do you think they're most intrigued with? Well, it's not going to be Cam Ward. He's going to go first to Tennessee, and I quite frankly think he's going to have problems as an NFL quarterback. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people do agree with it. We'll see how it goes. You never know about these guys, how good or bad they can be. But a few years ago in 2022, when most people were of the belief that it wasn't a good quarterback class, the Steelers still took Kenny Pickett. And it really wasn't a good quarterback class, save Brock Purdy at the end of it. And by the way, Brock Purdy wants $50 million a year. Do you think he's worth that out in San Francisco? If it comes down to Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, are they willing to go there? I suppose they are. I think I'd rather wait till next year. I think there may be more options and more quality options as well as quantity. So it's going to be intriguing to watch. It always is. The NFL draft begins Thursday in Green Bay. Let's go to the lines, beginning with Bert and Rostraver. Hello, Bert. How are you?
Hi, Bob. Thanks. Happy Easter.
You too. Thanks.
Okay. I think the best bet for the Steelers at this point is to go with the wide receiver in the first round who can work the middle of the field. If they can find that guy, then they can run the crossing patterns with Freiermuth to open up the lanes for the two deep threats and open up the running game. I like Luther Burden the best at this point. I think he has the play strength, and he can break tackles and work the middle of the field for him, and hopefully, be a long-term prospect as well. But if they have Rudolph or Rodgers, it really doesn't matter. It's going to give the quarterback more options and an offense that really has somebody open all the time or can open up the running game. And if they're interested in Rodgers, maybe it'll help bring him in.
Well, Bert, you never know how this is going to work out. But, yeah, they have, with Metcalf here and Pickens, if he does stay, you have two guys who can do a lot. And for George Pickens, I think he should want to stay and, quite frankly, take advantage of DK Metcalf. And by that I mean he's going to get a lot of the attention. And when he does, George Pickens should be the guy who gets one-on-one coverage, and he seems to pride himself on winning those one-on-one battles. So that would be good for him and good for them for sure. If he wants a big contract, having a big year will go a long way in doing that. So I think it's incumbent upon him that he comes with the right attitude and gets that done. But they need defensive line help badly. They really do. And I think that is by far their biggest need in the first round. The way I would go is defensive line, maybe in the first and even third. You remember they took back-to-back offensive linemen, now tackles, and Broderick Jones and now Troy Fontano, because they knew they needed them. And same holds true for their defensive line, which gave up a lot of rushing yards last year. So I would go defensive line. Wide receiver, sure, at some point. They'll probably draft a running back later, but I wouldn't do it early for sure. I think there are too many other pressing needs there. And the quarterback is the wild card, as everyone knows at this point. Let's go out to the lines. We got Jim in Green Tree. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
What's up?
Not much. Hey, the Pirate manager got to go. He got a guy in the lineup batting 95. Now, that's terrible. And he has another one batting 136. And Aaron Rodgers, 2-0 for the Steelers.
I think I would agree with that. Thank you for the call. He's 41, 42. I mean, if he gets proper protection, I still think the Steelers believe, and I would agree with this assessment, if he has time in the pocket, he can still sling the ball wherever he needs to make it. And his 4-time MVP status will give him the opportunity to make those kinds of throws. And, but that's a wild card also, because you're not absolutely sure how this offensive line will work this year with Broderick Jones moving to left. Fontano, who we really haven't seen, he was out all year with the injury, although you would think big things from him. But it's a work in progress there. So, I'd rather, again, I go back to the very beginning of this process. I wanted Justin Fields for 2 years. I would have taken my chances working with him to try to develop his passing game in the pocket, and then I would have drafted another quarterback at some point. That's the way I would have done it. It would be cheaper, and you may get some bang for your buck there if he takes the next step up in the passing department, which I still think he can. He hasn't shown it consistently, but I think he can. Let's go out to Tony in Monroeville. Joins us right now. Hello, Tony.
Hey, good evening, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm watching Paul Skenes lately, and I know it's a small sample size. Do you think he misses Yasmani Grandal as his kind of personal catcher? Do you think that veteran experience kind of helped him along last year, the Rookie of the Year, and the kind of season he had? Does it look like to you like he's missing him?
No, I mean, I understand why you made that call. He had preferential treatment with that guy. He wanted him. I think Henry Davis has worked himself well into being a defensive catcher. I don't think that's a problem. I wonder if the Pirates are trying to make him pitch a little differently, and I hope they're not. He's a strikeout pitcher, and that's what he should try to do on most occasions. We haven't seen the kind of number one velocity on a consistent basis, but also to me, I mean, I'm talking about 100 plus, but also, with regard to strikeouts, the totals haven't been what they were. But, what he's missing the most is run support. Again, he could have won a game yesterday if he got some run support. This whole thing is you can't win a lot of baseball games when you don't score runs, and they just don't. They got shut out, what was the fifth time yesterday? Today, one run until the bottom of the ninth. They just don't score a lot. They have to score more for any pitcher to be successful, and that includes even the elite guys of the game. Daryl in Latrobe joins us right now on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, Daryl.
Oh, hi, Plump. Happy Easter.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, I was watching some of those cable stations mock drafts, and they all picked Jackson Dart, and I was just going to get your opinion. I think I know that I'd rather get a defensive tackle too, but I think I take Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. That's for sure.
Well, first of all, I hope they don't draft a quarterback in the first round. That's just my take. I think there are going to be, as I said before, some more options next year, and they may be in a better spot to do it. If you trade up, the NFL operates with a point system when it comes to if you're moving up from a certain position to another position and the cost of it. If you're trying to go for a top 5 pick, it is extremely costly. A number 1 pick would be a couple of number 1s, a couple of number 2s. I mean, you're talking about stuff you don't want to get into. So maybe if they don't have the kind of season that you would expect, they could move up just by their play, their performance. But, Jackson Dart has a very talented kid, but they're all talented. They got athletic ability, they can run, especially Dart. He can really dart, but he can throw the ball too. But where we've seen him not at his best is in the biggest stage, when he's had big games that he needed to make plays, and you wonder some of the throws he makes. To me, that's a little bit of a red flag, but he's talented. Whatever they decide, they just better hit on it. They have to solve this quarterback situation before it continues to be a year-to-year thing. You just don't want to operate like that. It's tough to win when you have that. Let's go to Chuck in Uniontown. Chuck joins us right now on the hotline. Hello, Chuck.
Thanks, belated Happy Easter.
You too.
By the way, the Reds scored more runs tonight than we'll score in a month or more. But anyway, do you think the Pirates' season is over? And if you do you think that will affect who they bring out and when they will bring them up?
Well, first of all, they're not going to admit to you of any of that. So, to be 8-15, they've dug a hole that I don't think they can get out of. You may ask yourself, would they ever be above 500 the rest of the season? I think that's a legitimate question. You're 7 under. You're going to Anaheim and L.A. Who knows what this road trip will bring. At some point, you got to see Bubba Chandler up here. Whenever the time is that they save whatever extra year they want, he's ripping it up down in AAA. I want to see him. But mostly, I want to see guys swing the bat. Henry Davis needs to play, and I need to see results from that dude if I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates. And whoever else they end up bringing up here, they haven't gotten those kinds of results, and they haven't really drafted many hitters over the years that have made their way into this lineup. So, I don't know. I mean, realistically, they're not going to win anything this year, so I want to see more guys. That's why Tommy Pham, that bothered me, that signing. All due respect, he's 37, he's been in the year for a long time, he'll get a great pension, but quite frankly, his useful days are over, and he's not going to make a difference here. I don't care what they thought coming in. It's a waste of $4.7 million, quite frankly. They could have put that towards somebody else who has a younger, better bat, someone who's on the upswing and not a guy who's been around as long. And I would say that about Adam Frazier, too. He's had a big hit today, and, he's a good guy perhaps to be on your bench, but when you play him as much as there, that's not going to solve your problem. So they still have power issues, and they need to settle them. Let's go to Bob in Murraysville. Joins us right now on the Sports Call. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, happy Easter, Bob.
You too. Thank you.
I just want to say I just want to say that Aaron Rodgers fiasco, I don't understand that. Last year we had a quarterback that was younger, 37 or 38, who was more mobile, and they want to go with somebody older that isn't mobile. It doesn't make sense.
No, it does. I never thought that it would come to this. I never did. I thought they were going to figure this out before it ever got to that. I thought they have their quarterback solved early in the process. But it hasn't gone that way. So do they believe Aaron Rodgers can make them a contending team in a very difficult division with a lot of younger quarterbacks who right now are better than him? He's a Hall of Famer. Take nothing away from that. But can he still get it done, especially if the protection isn't there? I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing. They may believe, and I'll give the Steelers credit for this, because they go into every season thinking and prioritizing winning. They'll do what they have to do. Now, they've made mistakes along the way, as evidenced by the fact that they haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. But the point is, they don't give up on seasons. If they believe Rodgers can help them win with Metcalf, that's why they made that trade, and with Pickens, and if they bring in some other help along the way, their offense should be better if he gets protected. But at this point, he doesn't seem to make any definitive answers one way or the other, and I'm not sure how to read that. I really don't. Could it be just doesn't want to be here and through OTAs, mini camps, and all that stuff, and just come in late in the process? If that's the case, he's hurting himself and his team, I think. 412-575-2600. That's the number. We got to take a break. Come back with more right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.